All right, so we've got this thing, NFL draft, interesting story by Lions Insider. Trade back from 17, stay in the first round, draft this guy, and get your third round pick back. Suggested by an insider, it could be a move that makes sense. So we asked you, who's the guy that you would want? And we'll tell you today at 12:31 who the guy the writer suggests. I'll get to some of these, Gator, and then I want to know who it is from you. From Marlon and Walled Lake, I think the player that could still be on the board if we trade back and get a no-brainer to get that third-round pick back is Kaden Proctor, offensive tackle from Alabama. If they move Sewell to left, he could be a solid right tackle for a long time. Proctor's interesting in that he is massive. He's 6'7", 360 pounds.
He's moving up charts, too. It feels like every week he's getting more and more praise because more and more people are doing the deeper dive into what he was in the season, and they get past the Florida State game, and you look at the rest of the body of work, and it's special.
Yep.
And there's a video of him flying down the field with, I don't know if it's a running back or receiver, it's running for a touchdown, and he's running with him at full speed. The
area that they say he needs to improve on is pass protection, which is probably why he'd be a guy that could be late on the board, considered a really good run blocker.
Or better at the right side, yeah.
All right, next one from Pete. Mesador from Miami, if he's available, I'd trade back. Do you think Mesador will slip into the late first round? There's no telling. There's no reason to say no. If you're on the board at 17 in some mocks, then there's as good a chance that you would be on the board at 24, 25. It's not unheard of.
That's my guy. So I hope he slips. Because
okay.
You're asking the question.
Yeah.
If the Lions trade back and pick up a third-round pick, who's the guy you want to be there? For me, it's Mesador. And I'm hoping that teams are going to look at him and say, 25 years old, that's just we need somebody younger. I think that's a plus. I don't think it's a negative.
I completely agree. And I get that people say, oh, you want to have a guy for a decade. Edge rushers, to be successful in the trenches when you level up, you have to be physically ready to do so. And high school kids to college kids to the NFL. At 25, he's had more time to mature physically, time in the weight room. And quite frankly, that first contract, if he is a first-round pick with the fifth-year option, it might be just a one-contract deal for him, but so what?
Yeah. It's different than, say, when the Lions drafted Hendon Hooker. When you're talking about an older quarterback, an older college quarterback, if you're unsure about if you're unsure about that, mm-hmm. then I get it. But this is a different position altogether. You're talking edge rusher. See quarterback hit quarterback. And have your arsenal of moves to get there. I don't think you have to be, 22 to do that. I think if you're 25, you're physically mature, you're ready to roll.
Jason in Chelsea says the guy trade back to get third-round pick, Kaden Proctor, another vote for the Alabama tackle. Peter Woods, defensive tackle out of Clemson. That's from Scott and Carlton. Peter Woods is an interesting prospect, and I do think it'd be weird for the Lions to go defensive tackle with their first-round pick in back-to-back years.
6'3", 310.
But if you evaluate him as a guy that can stuff the run and make him better against the run and help the defensive line in general, I'm not against it. Next text, I'd trade back into the 20s if Proctor or Lomu were still on the board. Lomu's the tackle from Utah.
One of the tackles.
Yeah, one of the two. That's right. Caleb Tiernan, offensive lineman for Northwestern, Michigan native, born and raised, went to Detroit Country Day School. Piece that is absolutely needed for the Lions and he will be there at 17 and further back. That's from Tejas in Bloomfield.
Yeah, he would definitely be there. The question is, would he be there at when they draft again, 50?
Yeah.
He might be there at 50.
Yep.
But I like him. I like Northwestern offensive lineman.
Yeah, and look, that is a position that if Decker decides to retire, it's a priority. It is a massive priority to either draft a right tackle or sign a right tackle.
Yeah, and if you don't sign one, and if you're drafting, you're assuming that the guy you're drafting is going to step in right away, and that's why I think the plan would be, if Decker retires, I think that Sewell goes to the left side, and then because I think it's easier to find a right tackle in the draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Less responsibility protecting the blind side of the quarterback, and that Sewell is outstanding at it. So
248-539-9797. Who would you want with it if you trade it back to get net another third-round pick.
Because how this is going to work, like for us in this discussion, okay, we've already got the name, but really what you do is, if you're the Lions, you have, like we've heard the term, the bucket of players, right? They got the bucket with the list of players that they like, they really like, and they want to have one of these guys at a certain position. I think you have to go into it the same way, thinking, okay, if they're going to trade from 17 to 27 or 17 to 30, whatever the number is then you have to start doing the math. How many guys do we really covet and we don't want to lose? Like, we don't want to be stuck at 30 and be like, oh crap, all these guys are gone. And then you count back and then see how far can you really go back. The other thing is the NFL teams and GMs, they have a good idea of what other teams are considering. Like, there's talk, there's chatter.
Yep.
There's always trade talk and, hey, what are you looking to do here? And some guys are going to be more open about it than other guys. But I think generally speaking, the general managers have an idea of what teams are considering doing. So I think that gives them an idea as well. Like, okay, there's 3 teams going to go for a wide receiver. 2 teams are looking at a quarterback. So one of those quarterbacks is going to go, whatever it is. And now all of a sudden your formula is, okay, I need to have a bucket that's got 5 guys in it.
Yep.
And I'm still going to get one of these 5 guys. And okay, there you go. So is that bucket comprised of strictly offensive tackles and edge rushers? Or does another position slip in there if you've got a certain player that you really like the safety out of Toledo? Does he creep in like, okay, I want this guy?
The video that you don't see is when a team takes the chance, trades back, and then the guy they want gets taken before they're up. We see the high five, war room high five video. What we don't see is the heartbreak, the no.
Right, the double bird to the computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
There's been known to happen.
It happens.
Rick from Shelby, I think Monroe Freeling. Monroe Freeling's a name we might need to get to know more. He was
tackle from Georgia, 6'7", 315.
Yep. People are saying he's ready made to play tackle in the NFL.
Well, and I believe he was a left tackle. So would he be able to step in and play left tackle and leave Sewell at right, or vice versa, whatever you do? Yeah. Is that a tackle that you'd put in that bucket? He might be.
Mm-hmm. Next tax. What do you guys think of Jennings Dunker, tackle from Iowa? I like him. I think by all accounts, he could be had in a later round. I don't think you would trade back and take him in the first round. Would he still be there on the board at 50? I have to take a look. It's possible.
I'm just going through the Athletic has a list of the top, I think it's 100 prospects.
Is this Dane Brugler?
Yes.
Yep.
And I don't think I see. I mean, I'm past 80, and I don't see him on here. He's at 84. He's a guard, 6'5", 315 pounds.
Yeah,
and he looks like Tate Ratledge with red hair.
Okay, sure. Anyway, who would you like if they got a chance to trade back? I think of the names that have been mentioned so far, I think the defensive tackle from Clemson is the one that intrigues me the most. I just don't know if you can have enough players in the trenches. Peter Woods. I don't know if you can have enough players in the trenches. The problem is that so much of this is riding on what Decker decides to do. So much of it is riding on the health of the tight end and the safety and getting information of them as we get closer to the draft.
Yeah. I'm planning on they're going to have to draft a safety just because I don't know what Kirby Joseph's future is. I think there's going to be games he's going to have to miss because he's going to be managing pain. Mm-hmm. And you're going to play the whole first half of the season likely without Brian Branch. So you need a safety. And he's coming off an Achilles injury. There's no guarantees you're going to come back and you're going to be fine from that. So I'm definitely looking at safety. The question is, do you go first round with a safety? Depends who's there. There's a couple of outstanding safeties in this draft. One of them is going to be gone really quickly in Caleb Downs. Van
O'Fun on Twitch says, Saturday in the Park is my favorite Hammond song.
It's a good one.
Yep.
Get the horns. Saturday in the park.
Big Pank says the Hammond horn section is the best I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Reese is a big fan of the musical Hammond.
And all that jazz, yeah.
And Scott heads this, Abe Froman, Sausage King of Hammond. We'll tell you who the player suggested by this Lions insider is coming up today at 12:32. As mentioned, it is Karsch and Anderson here on 97.1.